I know. I didn't do this. I didn't arrange this.
My name is George Corser, Oakland University. I know, yeah, we go through that whole thing again. Yeah, I'm very honored again. This is really cool. And you know, I worked really hard on these things, so it really feels good to be, you know, get some kind of recognition there. But anyway, so the second paper, I'm a student at Oakland University. I'm getting my PhD there. I've been there for 1 year. And I submitted this one under the student banner there because it really doesn't have any practical. I didn't go and do anything real with this, but it was just an analysis of data that's out there about the profession. And I thought it was very appropriate for this conference because I'm not sure that we often take time to think about what we're doing. Who are we? What's the importance of the efforts that we're putting in? You know, we're trying to make the world safer, are we not? We're security people. We want to make the world a safer place, which means the internet we want to be a safer place. So we've got a very important role to play. And professional associations historically have been where industries and so forth have tried to make societies in different places, you know, follow different rules. So even though your company might tell you to do something, or your government might tell you to do something, as a profession you might say, no, we got to do this the right way, and we know what the right way is, in whatever country we're from. So anyway, this is what this is about: professional association membership. No fancy literary references in this one. After studying this subject, I went to the Bureau of Labor Statistics and all these different places to get data. It became clear that the information security profession does exhibit some characteristics of older professions, like the medical profession or the legal profession. Not to the same extent, but it does. One of them is that it appears to have a higher member-to-practitioner ratio in the primary professional association. The other one is it seems to have a common set of educational, some educational commonalities. There's an accepted curriculum, and I make this argument because the certification credential, the primary one, is relatively commonly accepted. So, again, professional promotion associations promote the interests of professional practitioners, you and me. We should belong to our professional associations because if there's any rules that are relevant to it, these are the guys that are going to defend us. The other one, the most important one, is it protects the general public. You know, civil engineers have been doing it for years. You got to have standards on bridges. You know, it's got to carry this many trucks if that's how many are going to go across there. Regardless of what the government says, is how much money you got to spend. If you're going to build it here, you got to do this. And so they protect the general public. A lot of times, if there's a lawsuit, hey, you know, we think this should be this much tolerance, and they think the other thing, they'll go to the professional association to determine what the law should be, what the legal interpretation should be. And then sometimes, how do you license people? You go to the professional association to say, should this guy be allowed to even practice this particular activity? So these are important things. And in order for this benefit to the public to take place, the professional association has to be credible. People have to believe that this association does in fact speak for the profession. And that breadth of acceptance has to exist among the eligible practitioners. So, what is the acceptance level of the computer profession, and what is the acceptance level of the security profession, information security profession? How do we know if it's true? I looked at, 8 professions, six common, historical professions. Medical, Bar Association, the AICPA, which is the Association of Certified Public Accountants, but you don't have to be a CPA to belong to it. ASCE, which is the Society of Civil Engineers, Mechanical Engineers, and then the IEEE, which is more than just an institute for the profession of electrical engineering. They're also a standard-setting body, as we all know. And then I also looked, I compared these old-time, long-established professions with the computer profession, which most people would recognize the ACM is the main professional association, and the ISSA, which is the Information System Security Professional Association. So, how did I measure this? It wasn't a really sophisticated equation. A divided by B. I calculated the member to practitioner ratio, MTP, and I took the practitioners from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Most of the reports you see on anything related to population that's employment related, you go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And the data sources for the members of the associations I got from member reports. Some of them, the big ones, like the AMA and the ABA, have annual reports. They publish them just like a corporation would. Other ones just have membership published on a website. I used whatever number I could. It's all documented in the paper. These are the numbers. The hard part wasn't making the spreadsheet. The hard part was finding all the data. But let's look at how it is. We have, let's see, go this way. There's 661,000 doctors out there, and 187,000 of them are members of the AMA. You don't have to be a member of the AMA to practice medicine, but you do have to have a medical license to be in the AMA. Lawyers, similar type of a thing. Accountants, 1.4 million accountants out there. Not all of them are CPAs, but the AICPA is the professional association. Civil engineers, mechanical engineers, and so forth. Interesting numbers down here, not quite as great, but 3.7 million computer professionals, as described by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. It's a lot of people. And only 37,000 of them are members in the United States. And then, of course, the numbers are even smaller for the ISSA, but the general population to draw from is not as big. Graphically, this is what it looks like. Basically, all these other professions put together are the same number of people, practitioners that are eligible as in the computer profession. The ISSA is a smaller profession, but there's also a smaller population to choose from. So this is the results in a nutshell. 34% of the eligible practitioners in other professions are members of their main professional association. 1%, maybe, of the computer profession are members of the ACM. And perhaps 8% of all the information security professionals, as listed by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, are in the ISSA. So, I guess the information security profession is somewhere in between these older professions in this ACM. This is a chart that kind of plots that same information over time. So, the first association that was in America was the AMA. Shortly after that was the ASCE, the civil engineers. These are long-standing organizations. Lots of laws and rules and policies have been set up by the ASCE, and lots of them have been done by the AMA, as we're all aware. Some of these other ones, they have a very high, the ABA has got an extremely high acceptance rate because they do a lot of legal related things. So these guys are not just, I think they're also not a PAC, but a body that influences the government. I'm not sure how they do that. And the IEEE is a sort of standard setting body too. So a lot of us are members of both the ACM and the IEEE. I'm sure in this room. The IEEE actually was founded much earlier under a different name, but I put it here because technically that's when it was founded. But there was an association of electronics engineers or something that was many years before. So this point could very well have come over here. What else can we say about the information security profession? One of them is that this certifying body, a lot of these professions have licenses or certifications. You can get you can become a certified, a registered professional engineer. Obviously, you can become a medical doctor, become a lawyer, get a pass the bar exam and get licensed as a lawyer. You can get certified here as an information security professional. The ISC, whatever it is called, Square, reports nearly 75,000 certified industry professionals worldwide. Now, throughout this study, I used an IEEE figure which says that 55% of its members are American and 45% are international. So I'm not sure if that's really true or not, but nobody else published that number, so I had to make an estimate somewhere. But if 55% of them are Americans, and maybe 61% of all of these IS professionals hold certifications in one form or another, according to this certifying body. So that tends to suggest that there is a commonly understood body of knowledge, education, that this profession has, that maybe the computer profession does not.
Quick question.
Yeah.
For the ISC squared, is that SIS or is that all these certifications that they offer?
All of the certifications, yeah. And the point being that the underlying education somehow adds credibility to that as a profession. I mean, the computer profession's got so many different things in it. If we're sitting in here with a room full of digital image processing people, we don't know what, that's not our field. They really are a different animal. So this ACM is trying to be something, they're being a lot of things to a lot of people, and so they haven't had this kind of pull with the legal community that maybe the IEEE has. That's the argument.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's right now. Well, actually, I'm saying it's right. So anyway, so let's think about this for a second. Everything I said totally flies out the window if the Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers are wrong. But you have to ask yourself, how wrong can they be? Yes, maybe they are wrong, but are they wrong by 1,000%? But it could be. The association report data also could be wrong. They may exaggerate how many members they have. They may underestimate it because they don't keep their website up to date. There's any number of things that could be happening with the association report data, especially with the smaller associations. And this is maybe the most important point that you might want to take home if you start talking to people in bars. Oh yeah, I saw this presentation about professional associations, and start claiming that else is true. The information that I got about the information systems people, information security people at the Bureau of Labor Statistics was clumped in with a bunch of other stuff. There's 4 other professions there, so that's divided by 4. There may well have been more people in information security than those other 4 professions. If you want, I can show you what they were. They were mixed in with certain network people and some other professions. I have a slide for that if you want to see it. If the number were doubled, though, if 50% of this subcategory was all information security people, then instead of being 8%, it would only be 4%. But still a lot more than 1%. And the 61% certification would only be 30%. So it is a big difference, but it's still clear-cut more than what the computer profession has. And of course, the 55% estimate of U.S. membership could be wrong. I personally think that the ISSA has a higher percentage of American members, but I can't prove that. But when you go on their website, they have some data. It looks like a lot of the people are from U.S. cities. So anyway, the bottom line is if the key assumption's off by a factor of 2, the analysis that I'm presenting to you today still holds. And maybe the certification rate's even higher if they're all Americans. So the conclusion is, unlike the computing profession, the computing profession really does not have a body that represents it in terms of a high member practitioner ratio. But the information security profession appears to have that more so, and they have a broadly accepted curriculum that seems to be more recognized within the profession. So maybe one day, the information security world might have an organization on par with IEEE. The ISSA might get to be at that point sometime, at some point. And that's it. Yeah.
One thing I've noticed in teaching this and in discussing it with my students is that it appears that the organizations are still oriented towards certifications that they give. Did you find, I mean, like, you know, SAMS is, what is it, the GA? Right?
Yeah, there's a lot of certifications, and there's money to be made in those, right?
Right.
And so when I did this study, I had to figure out which of these professional associations best represents the population I'm talking about. Because I could have tried to find all of the associations, right, and say, well, you know, this profession is represented by all these, but then they don't have a single voice. So I don't know really the answer to your question, but for the point that I'm trying to bring across in this study, it's that you know, there has to be one professional association. And there's nobody would doubt that the AMA is the voice of the medical community. Nobody would doubt that the ABA is the voice of the legal community. Nobody questions that. But who's the voice of the computer society, computer community, if there is one? Some people don't even think it's a profession. So that's where I was going with this research, although if I went down that path, I mean, it took a long time to come up with all these numbers. I had to make sure that the numbers were relatively in sync with each other. The BLS reports matched the reports from the profession that was giving up, and that all the professions were in relatively the same time frame. Otherwise, I would have messed up. Before I really say goodbye, though, I want to take a look at something here. These are the information security hiring trends that just came out from Wanted Analytics just last month, actually just this month. Very quick rise, and these are the hot areas of the country where they're having trouble finding people. Guess what the hardest to find? Guess what the fastest growth is in information security job hotspots? You guys probably already know. Well, that's where the most jobs are. But one of the, arguably, the most quickly tightening market is Atlanta. Of all of these top 5 markets, Baltimore, New York, Atlanta, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., Atlanta had the fastest growth. I thought that was interesting since we're near Atlanta right here. So.
And your source of that is?
This is called Wanted Analytics, and if you go to my website, gcourser.weebly.com, you can get all this stuff, all the links and everything in all these presentations. gcourser.weebly.com. So, but that is cool, right?
Sorry, what's that?
It's
G-Courser.
my name is George Courser, so G-Courser, the dot Weebly, W-E-E-B-L-Y. It's one of those free website builders, drag and drop, it looks great. I mean, it works on a mobile phone real good. Anybody wants to see it, I'll show you on mine when we're on a break. So hopefully that was useful for you.
And like I announced before this session, no, don't go anywhere. Don't try to peek at the answer. These are the 2 finalists for the Best Student Paper Competition. So at this time, I will begin by announcing that the winner of the Best Student Paper Competition was the paper titled The Human Element in Cybersecurity Study on Here, hang on to that. Here's your certificate. I thought he was reaching for your gift card.
Yeah, your hair. Ready?
There we go. Okay, here you go. Thank you very much. Well deserved. And yet another outstanding paper.
Always surprise me.
So two second places, that equals 1 first place, right?
That's good for me, man. Hey, no one
Okay, great. All right, at this time we're going to go ahead and call a break. We're a little ahead of schedule, so what we'll do is we'll run the break till 2:30. Normally we were expecting to start it at 2:30. We'll go ahead and run the break till 2:30, and then we'll come back at 2:30, and then at that point in time we'll be in breakout sessions. So this will be session A, which is the pedagogy track with Mr. Damon's presentation and the one on MANETs. Is someone here for that one?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. You got roped into all of them.
I'm
There's
telling
no
you, man.
award for that one.
so it's okay. So far my luck's not exactly holding up.
That's fine. In room 1010, which is next door, the 2 papers, your 2 papers will be next door. Now upstairs will be session C, directly above me. There are the 2 student track papers there, and we will go ahead and continue through We ask that whoever's in charge of the second paper, keep an eye on the time for the person on the first paper, because there's only so many of us. So we'll make sure we get started on time and end on time. It looks like we'll get done in time to beat the parade. Hey, if you want to watch the parade, you feel free to go outside. Just don't let me run you over on the way off campus. We'll go ahead and call a break there. We have some snacks in the room next door. We'll start back up at 2:30.
So is one right separate?